The Gripen and the F-16 are quite similar in several aspects. They are fighters of the same generation, both single-engine, competing in the same markets, and this naturally raises the question of which one is better. Let's answer this through a comparison between the Gripen E and the F-16 Block 70 in 4 different categories, which are situational awareness, payload, survivability, and price. We will not evaluate the flight performance since it is significantly affected by factors such as external load, altitude, and other variables that are difficult to measure fairly. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your subscription is essential for us to continue producing videos here on YouTube. Situational awareness. A fighter's situational awareness is its ability to know what is happening around it through information collected by its sensors, such as radar, for example. Both the Gripen E and the F-16 Block 70 are equipped with AESA radars of similar size, with about 1,000 transmitter modules each. Initially, this may lead the public to believe that they are equivalent radars, but do not be deceived, there are significant differences between them. The main difference lies in the coverage angle. The APG-83 radar of the F-16 Block 70 has a fixed mounting, with airspace scanning occurring through electronic beam steering. This is the standard operating mode of AESA radars, providing coverage of approximately 60 degrees on each side, or 120 degrees of total coverage in the frontal arc. On the other hand, the Raven ES-05 radar equipped on the Gripen E combines the standard electronic steering of AESA radars with mechanical antenna movement. This allows the radar to see beyond its normal field of view, achieving coverage of up to 100 degrees on each side, or 200 degrees of total coverage. In simpler terms, this means that the Gripen has an almost twice as large peripheral vision compared to the F-16. This capability is called over-the-shoulder vision, and its main advantage, besides providing greater situational awareness, is allowing the Gripen to guide a missile while moving away from the target, increasing the chance of survival as it can maintain a safe distance even while attacking. Another significant difference between the Gripen's radar and the F-16's radar lies in the cooling system. Modern radars transmit a lot of power, which consequently generates heat, and keeping the radar within a temperature limit is essential for it to be used at its maximum performance. The APG-83 radar of the F-16 is air-cooled only, while the Raven ES-05 radar of the Gripen has a dual cooling system, liquid and air. Just to give an example of the importance of good cooling capacity for this type of system, the range of the APG-80 radar, which equips the F-16 Desert Falcon of the United Arab Emirates, is about 50% greater than the range of the APG-83 of the F-16 Block 70, solely because of the greater cooling capacity allowing higher transmission power. The range of the Gripen E radar is classified, but due to its similar size and cooling system to the APG-80, it certainly performs better than the APG-83. With greater coverage and more efficient cooling capacity, we can classify the Gripen E radar as superior to the F-16 Block 70 radar. Another important sensor for generating situational awareness is the infrared tracking system, which detects targets passively by their heat emissions. Both the Gripen E and the F-16 Block 70 are equipped with technologically similar infrared tracking systems, but with different approaches. While the Gripen's infrared tracking system is organic, integrated into the fuselage, the F-16's infrared tracking system is external, in the form of a pod. Equipment in the form of external pods has the disadvantage of generating additional drag and increasing weight and RCS. Furthermore, it is quite clear that the mounting of the F-16's infrared tracking system on the underside of the fuselage partially obscures its upper field of view. The Gripen system, properly integrated into the fuselage, can better exploit its capabilities, without the negative points of external mounting as with the F-16, thus becoming a more modern solution. Therefore, it can be said that the Gripen E has an advantage over the F-16 Block 70 in terms of situational awareness capability. Its radar with a larger field of view and probably greater range, in addition to the benefits of mounting an organic infrared tracking system, allows the Gripen E a better ability to detect targets over a wide area and understand what is happening around it. Payload. Payload is the ability to carry weapons and fuel according to the mission. The Gripen E can carry 3.4 tons of internal fuel and up to 5.1 tons of external load, between weapons and additional fuel, simultaneously. It can increase its external load to up to 7 tons, provided that it decreases internal fuel proportionally to not exceed the maximum takeoff weight, and also has 10 hardpoints for weapon and external tank attachment. The F-16 Block 70, on the other hand, can carry 3.1 tons of internal fuel and up to 9.4 tons of external load, between weapons and additional fuel, distributed over up to 11 hardpoints. In terms of payload, the advantage is clearly with the F-16. Although it carries slightly less internal fuel, the greater payload capacity of the F-16 allows it to compensate for this difference with more external fuel. Additionally, the F-16 can carry its external fuel in conformal tanks located on the top of the fuselage and do not occupy weapon stations, whereas the Gripen's external fuel is carried only in traditional drop tanks, which occupy hardpoints and reduce space for weapons. With more available hardpoints and a higher maximum takeoff weight, the F-16 Block 70 can carry a significantly larger weapons load than the Gripen E. Survivability. The survivability of a fighter aircraft is directly related to its self-protection systems. In the F-16 Block 70, this capability is provided by the Electronic Warfare Suite. There is not much information available about the electronic warfare system developed for the F-16 Block 70, it is only said to be an evolution of previous systems, but without any mention of more advanced capabilities such as gallium nitride jammers, cooperative electronic attack capability, among others. An interesting detail is that the F-16 Block 70 does not have a dedicated missile approach warning system, that is, composed of sensors integrated into the fuselage that detect the heat of approaching missiles, as with the Gripen E. The F-16 Block 70 relies entirely on its radar warning system to be alerted to the approach of a missile, and this deficiency limits its warning capability only to radar-guided missiles. To be alerted to the approach of heat or laser-guided missiles, the F-16 would need to carry an external self-protection pod, which increases weight, drag, and RCS. In summary, the self-protection system of the F-16 Block 70 consists of a radar warning system, limited electronic interference capability, and disposable countermeasures, in an apparently much simpler set than those found in other 4.5th generation fighters, such as the Gripen, Rafale, and Typhoon. The Gripen E, on the other hand, features a highly advanced self-protection suite, which includes an organic missile approach warning system, high-precision interferometric radar warning system, a large number of gallium nitride-powered jamming antennas with broadband coverage, smart disposable countermeasures, and special functions like cooperative electronic attack. There's already a video on our channel specifically discussing the Gripen's electronic warfare and self-protection system, which I'll link in the description and end screen, so I won't delve into too many details here to keep this video from becoming too lengthy. Judging by publicly available information, it can be said that the self-protection system of the Gripen E is considerably more advanced than that of the F-16 Block 70. This is likely because the Swedes don't have another more advanced aircraft to fulfill tougher missions and rely entirely on the Gripen for all possible scenarios, unlike the Americans who can use the F-35 and F-22 in missions deemed too risky for the F-16. However, survivability goes beyond detecting and evading enemy missiles. In any conflict, airbases are among the prime targets, and the destruction of runways and aircraft on the ground can cripple an air force before it can even respond. This is where the importance of dispersed operations comes in. The Gripen is a master of dispersion, as it was designed for it. However, contrary to popular belief, this isn't solely due to its ability to take off and land on short runways, as many fighters can do the same. The major issue in dispersed operations is logistics. The Gripen can be rearmed and refueled in about 10 minutes by a team of 1 technician and 5 recruits. A single 20-foot standard container can carry all the necessary tools to keep 2 Gripen fighters airborne for 2 weeks. The Gripen's engine can be replaced in less than an hour, and the air intakes are positioned to reduce the likelihood of foreign objects on the runway being ingested into the engine. On the other hand, the F-16 wasn't designed with this employment philosophy, starting with its bottom fuselage air intake. The closer proximity of the air intake to the ground gives the F-16 a poor track record of ingesting objects on the runway, which can damage the engine. Even when operating from prepared bases, constant runway checks are necessary to remove anything that could be sucked into the F-16's air intake, as even a small pebble can destroy the engine blades, rendering the aircraft unserviceable. Additionally, just removing the F-16's engine takes longer than completely replacing the Gripen's engine. Another significant difference is the number of military personnel required to support each aircraft. To keep 12 F-16 fighters operational, about 250 military personnel are needed in total. In the case of the Gripen, 14 fighters, with an additional 2 in reserve, can be fully operated by 108 military personnel. This includes pilots, mechanics, and all personnel necessary to make an air unit function. It's evident, therefore, that the Gripen is much more capable of operating in a dispersed manner, and this has more to do with how easily it can be maintained than solely with takeoff and landing distance. Thus, the Gripen presents superior survivability in all aspects. It has more resources to detect and evade enemy missiles and radars, and can also be relocated to secondary bases with minimal infrastructure or even improvised runways on highways, out of reach of enemy weapons, much more easily than the F-16. Price. Talking about the price of fighter jets is a bit tricky, as no country buys the planes individually, but rather packages that also include weapons, training, spare parts, simulators, among other things that can completely alter the final value. The simplest and most effective way to estimate the cost of a fighter is to divide the value of its acquisition contracts by the number of units acquired. This allows us to approximately know how much a fighter model costs, including the initial logistics for it to operate. Taiwan acquired 66 units of the F-16 Block 70 for $8 billion in 2019, which gives a unit cost of approximately $120 million. Bulgaria signed a contract for 8 F-16 Block 70 fighters in 2022 for $1.3 billion, which gives a unit cost of about $162 million. In other F-16 export contracts, the unit cost falls between these mentioned values, meaning that a country wanting to acquire the F-16 Block 70 for its Air Force will pay something between $120 to $162 million per unit, depending on what else is included in the package. In the case of the Gripen E, however, the only export contract so far was Brazil's, which acquired 36 units for $5.4 billion, which gives a unit cost of approximately $150 million. However, the Brazilian package was much broader than any F-16 Block 70 export package because, in addition to the aircraft, it also included technology transfer with the manufacture of units in Brazil, the development of a two-seater version and a wide-area display that were paid for by the Brazilians, as well as other items common in this type of contract, such as simulators and pilot training. Without the technology transfer, the final value would certainly have been lower. It can be said, therefore, that the F-16 Block 70 and the Gripen E are in the same price range, and what will really define which of the two is more expensive is the package in which each is included. At the end of our comparison, we can conclude the following. In general terms, the Gripen E is a more advanced fighter than the F-16 Block 70. Some of the native features of the Gripen E can only be achieved by the F-16 Block 70 with external pods that increase drag, weight, and RCS. The Gripen E has superior survivability and situational awareness capabilities, is logistically easier to maintain, and can still compete with the F-16 Block 70 on price. Already the F-16 Block 70 has an advantage in greater weapon carrying capacity. However, the F-16 has a significant advantage that goes beyond technical specifications. It carries with it all the political and economic support that a superpower can provide to its allies. And you, do you agree or disagree with the result of our evaluation? Leave your opinion here in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and until next time.